With Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, let's talk about medical releases and using ChatGPT for medical releases and how to know when you need a medical release. Remember, all of us who are dentists, we basically went to med school the first 2 years. So we do have a medical background, although it's, of course, oral health facing. But we have to know a lot about systemic conditions because our patients are going to come in with this and that systemic condition, and we have to know if it has any oral health changes. You know, if they have this and that disease, can we do orthodontics? Can we do other things? How is this going to affect the perio? So you have to know some basic stuff. And obviously we know a lot about like diabetes and other things like that. But, you know, or if you've had head and neck cancer, we know about that. But you can use ChatGPT and it's pretty easy. So one of the ways that I like to do this is I like to put in the condition and then put comma, orthodontics, comma, scholar, because that helps you connect to the journal articles like from PubMed without having to have a PubMed membership. And you can do that, but it takes a while to get the research done. We're connecting a disease to orthodontics. That's not a priority for obviously a lot of companies, right? And a lot of research, orthodontics. I mean, that's not life or death, right? So you can look to osteoblasts, which are the bone building cells. That's the foundation of orthodontics, osteoblasts, or osteoclasts. So you can look up that disease, comma, osteoblast, comma, scholar. So I'm just gonna give you guys an example. Somebody asked me, hey, how would you look up this disease? MTHFR. And I actually had heard of it before. So I looked up that and bone health. So this was the disease, comma, osteoblast, comma, scholar, which is what I said to do. And then they went and talked about all the bone effects that this disease would have. Now, if there's bony effects, then that tells me there's going to be effects with orthodontics. So things to know. So, you know, in the olden days, we would just, every single illness, we would just have the, you know, patient's MD sign a release to go ahead and start orthodontic treatment. And you could still totally do that. It's actually not a bad idea to have that on every single patient that has a condition, just to make sure they're aware that you're going to be moving teeth in bone. Now, a lot of doctors or MDs are going to laugh at you if you ask for this, but you know what? Nothing wrong with that. It's a CYA thing, cover your you know what. Nothing wrong with getting that. So, I mean, I still think you should do that, especially if it's a disease you're unfamiliar with, you know. But this is how you can basically screen it. And you could even reference certain types of literature, you know, with the patient. Just say, you could even say, you know, on the release, don't say ChatGPT, but, you know, did some initial literature reviews, noticed that there was a connection between osteoblasts and said condition. Just want to know if we're okay to, you know, go ahead and initiate orthodontic treatment. And, you know, they might say no. And if so, well, it's not on you. So this is how you do it. All right. You can do this with any disease or any genetic condition. All right. Thanks so much.